Sandow was actually one of the most, I believe, underrated superstars in the WWE. He has excellent mic work, pretty good in-ring technician, but one of the biggest problems, the biggest problem with Sandow to me is that he did not have a great finishing move. So it's kind of hard to connect to a guy who doesn't have a great finisher. So I think that was one of the reasons why they started to have Sandow work alongside The Miz, and he was mimicking everything that he was doing. But even before he was mimicking everything that The Miz was doing, he would come out in these different costumes, pretending to be different past superstars, pretending to be different celebrities, and all that sort of thing. And it got him a lot of laughs and that sort of thing. But I think that it would be interesting to revisit that concept, but more on a serious side, where every single time Sandow comes out, he is really dressed as a past WWE legend of some sort. And he not only does he embody them in regards to his attire, but he even adopts their move sets and their finishing moves. Now, I believe he's talented enough in the ring to do that. So now you see on the screen right now, imagine Sandow coming to the ring against someone. He could be fighting anybody, a mid-carder or whatever, and he comes down dressed like Jake the Snake Roberts with a mysterious bag. So it'd be pretty funny, and where you may be ready to laugh and the entire crowd could actually literally be ready to laugh. But what I would do is, instead of having him come down with just some other inanimate object in the bag, actually have him have a snake for real. And when he pulls the snake out the bag for real and puts it on top of an opponent, I think the laughs would probably stop. They would probably stop. And like I said, he has to use the entire moveset. So now, obviously, Jake the Snake is not the only type of legend that he could copy. What if Sandow came to the ring as Mr. Perfect? Mr. Perfect, except for the drop kick, I think Sandow's athletic and strong enough to pull off most of Mr. Perfect's moves as well. So now, here's the thing. You can't take this type of a gimmick for a long period of time. But that should never be the point. That should never be the objective. I think what they should do is have this go on for maybe 2 to 3 months, maybe 4 months, until you essentially run out of legends for him to copy. And it would also be even very cool if he actually copies a legend, and that particular legend is at that episode of Raw or at the pay-per-view. Imagine if he comes out as Jake the Snake, and Jake the Snake is actually in the front row. That would be pretty amazing. And they have some sort of stare down, and if it's a heel or if it's a face, depending on which side of the road that Sandow's going to be on, he can get some level of acknowledgement, maybe a fist bump or something like that from Jake the Snake. That would be pretty awesome, and it would put him over as a face for sure with this particular gimmick. But he's gonna have to get to a point where he gets into a feud with someone, and maybe that feud lasts 2 to 3 weeks, or maybe 2 months or so, long enough for there to be 1 or 2 pay-per-view clashes. Now, the first match, maybe he loses to the guy. The second match, maybe it's some sort of count out or some sort of inconclusive result. But then the third match, which would be more like the rubber match, at that point it would be time for Sandow to come out of the whole chameleon, the chameleon angle. Now, at this point, he could have been Jake the Snake. He could have been Mr. Perfect. He could be Boss Man. He could be Rick Rude. He could be so many different people, so many different past legends that would it would really get a pop for him once he came down the aisle dressed as these guys. But as I said before, this is definitely the type of gimmick that's going to run its course at some point, and then he's going to have to step out as his own guy, and he could cut a promo that would basically say, maybe Renee Young is interviewing him and saying, Sandow, we really love the fact that everybody's always so excited about who you're going to come to the ring as. We gotta know, when you take on whomever it is that you're fighting, when you take on this person at Fastlane, who are you going to be? Which past superstar are you going to come to the ring dressed as? And he can look at Renee Young and say, you know what, Renee, this time I got to take care of this one myself. It's going to be me. And he comes down with an entirely different gimmick, entirely different attire, and even in the ring, when he actually finishes the match, because obviously we'd have him win this particular situation, when he wins the match, he wins it with a brand new finisher. Now, here's the key to the finisher. This is what I always say about finishers. If you think about some of the best finishers in wrestling history, those finishers are moves that can be done to any superstar, any wrestler, no matter what size they are. That's one of the things that made the Stone Cold Stunner so great, because no matter who you were, you could be 7'2", you could be 5'10", no matter who you were, you could apply, Stone Cold could apply the stunner, and it was sudden and it was quick. Now, Sandow may not find something that's sudden and quick, but a move like a neck breaker can be pulled off on anybody, and for somebody like Sandow, it would work out great, and he could call the move the original. Now, how are we going to find out what the move is? Obviously, Michael Cole was there for that type of thing. When he puts the move on the guy, and then he can, he always announces things like that. Michael Cole would say something like, Sandow calls that move the original. And so he decided to hang up his copycat threads and to come out as his own original man, and he finishes so-and-so with the original. So that, I kind of fleshed out this entire concept going out a few months. So I would love to see them do something like this, or something with Sandow in some way, shape, or form. He's a talented dude, and he deserves to get some sort of feature. Maybe it can happen this way, maybe not. In any case, I appreciate you watching. God bless. Peace.